would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie. Yeah. If I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie. Yeah. Call me all night long. Try to give you hints and a hard to see. Right on the line, no. Losing it on you's the last thing I If I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I promise now's not the right time. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie to you. I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another new season of SLR here on Tier 1. And as you can probably hear, this is going to be a very sickly Tier 1 from myself, Tipsy, and the wonderful Mr. Chief here, because we are recovering from that old nemesis of ours, which is man flu. But we will press on and see how we get on. So I'll ask, it's hello from me and hello from Mr. Chief.
Hello Bob, how's it going? Yeah, we'll struggle through and try our best for this one, but yeah, it's going to be a low energy comms today, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I guess I will press on and we'll see how it goes. We are here at Portugal, Portimao. Some people love it, some people hate it, but alas, it is a exciting thing to a race to watch. A lot of track penalties can rack up here, as we've seen in the the Tier 2 and Tier 3 season, races this week. Some guys were getting as much as, 16 second tab, what do you call it? I can't even speak. A 16-second time penalty for running off track, but it is what it is. We have pretty much the same, almost the same grid as always, with some new faces. And some people will recognize these guys from lower tiers. This is the first time that we have allowed assists into Tier 1, much to the excitement of many and much to the disappointment of others. Alas, it is what it is. It's just the way things go. But we do have, for example, is currently in the Red Bull of, is it Luke GDI? He was the Tier 2 champion, I believe, last season. A remarkably fast driver. And it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, Chief. Have you any info on the track or these guys?
Yeah, just from the race previously, in Tier 3 we had a pull of 16.627 by Naiko, who's actually on track, on screen at the minute. He's actually the first guy going to set a time here, so we'll see what he can do in comparison to his pull time in Tier 3. But yeah, Tier 2 was the top of the pops with 1.882 by Christian, as Naiko actually actually that's faster than his Tier 3 pull time, so 16.621 for Naiko. Crowley Voice as well was P2 in that race in Tier 3. He sits at 16.9. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of 15s in this one. This is Tier 1, so we're going to see the fastest of the fast, hopefully today.
Yeah, and of course, we will be looking at the usual protagonists of Dan Man and Super Mac, and Justin, of course, will be, I expect, and I'm sure everyone expects them to be the main front runners for this title. They have been in unbelievable form of the last few seasons, but there are a few drivers here that could challenge them. Like I did say, Luke is an incredibly fast driver, as we've seen. Equals can mix it up with those guys as well. And from memory, I think Moxie is pretty quick as well. So, yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting season. And another thing to point out, Chief, if Mac and Dan were not already dominant enough, they are now teammates. I think this is the first time ever that we've had multiple Tier 1 champions in the same team. We've got a 3-time champion Mac in McLaren and a 2-time champion in the McLaren with Dan. So they are going to be an absolute formidable force this season, Chief.
Yeah, that's going to be worth watching. Having two of the fastest guys in the same team. We've seen how that worked out before in real F1, like the likes of Alonso and Hamilton. It's a lot of personality clashes can happen, but I don't know. I have a feeling it might actually work out for both of the guys. McKender tends to go for different strategies, so hopefully we're not going to see any double double pit stopping shenanigans. Double stack. That's the one. Thanks, Phil.
Well, I think, Chief, we would have a pretty good insight into how these guys race. I mean, we've raced with them for many years, we've watched them for many years, and generally Mac, how he approaches his races, from what I see, is more of a marathon man. He paces himself, he doesn't panic, even if people are getting away ahead of him, doesn't panic, he just plays to his strengths, he knows the system, he knows the game well, and he plays to his strategy. Whereas Dan will, of course, do that in the right scenario, but Dan would be more aggressive in the sense that he goes out there and he goes to bloody well get that win, no matter what. And even if he is leading, he is flooring it. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic watching these guys. But what did you say the Tier 2 time, Chief, was?
15.882 by Christian.
A 15.882, okay. Christian, of course, once it did reside here up at the Tier 1. It would be lovely to see him back someday. So that is actually a really good benchmark, actually, the 15.88. And so we'll see how these guys will do. So far, no one has touched it. Justin did probably a banker lap at a 16.8. We will be looking, of course, for Luke, Dan and Mac, and even Equals to see if they can start touching that 15.8. And people in the who's watching the stream, don't be afraid to jump into the chat. We will respond. We love getting involved with the chat. So yep, get them in. We can see already Mr. Lepson, the wonderful Mr. Lepson, is in there saying, "What a lovely aged booth today." Yes, you have a combined age of what, 83 or something here, Chief, in there, something like that. Maybe not
getting
quite.
There, yeah, getting there.
We're getting there. I'm 39 next month. Can you believe that? Let's see. And I'm sounding like it as well.
Equals is coming around to the last corner here. I'm just going to see what he does as he crosses the line here. Looked like a pretty tidy lap, and it was indeed. It's the first 15 on the board. I did notice a lot of the faster guys in Tier 1 that were used to seeing at the top were at the top, but they were on medium tires, so they obviously just fancied setting a wee banker, maybe saving a set of sauce for the race, and should see a bunch more drivers enter into those 15s, maybe even get down to mid 15s. Mipo has set a 16.6 on those mediums, and Tenari as well. We'll have to keep an eye on him. He did win the opener last season. His season didn't pan out quite well after that, but he is definitely one who we shall keep an eye on for this one. Oh, Rumpelstack as well, P2. So Haas place 1 2.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I just switched over at the last minute to Luke. He is on an outlap, of course, so not necessarily starting his lap, but yeah, I think he maybe was going to almost run into the back of someone. He's picking up a lot of gravel here, so he doesn't want to be doing that. He's getting well off track here. This is, I suppose you would say, suboptimal warm-up, but Dan the Man is also, I think Dan the Man will probably be the closest to the starting his lap as opposed to Luke. So yeah, I'll be keeping a wee eye on Dan for the moment. He doesn't have a banker lap in at the moment, so we can't base it off anything. I can see Justin does have his time lapped in. He's further back, so we'll keep a wee eye out on Justin as well. Always one to watch. He always sticks it up there. But we currently have a Haas lockout, Chief, by these two new additions to Tier 1.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these new drivers do in Tier 1 this season. With 14 tracks selected by the drivers themselves, so it's had a pretty good reception from spectators and drivers alike, so that's a good sign, and we're definitely in for a treat this season as Dan sends it into, I think that's turn 3, wild abandon there, almost losing the back end, and that's a big feature of this track, is just a lack of grip in some corners, and you'll see that throughout this track as Dan navigates his way nicely through that hairpin. And another fast flowing section here. This is another part where the back end, the weight distribution, I think it just causes the back end to get very light, and a lot of drivers do spin out there, especially in wet conditions. Dry today, of course. We'll see how the race is for the weather, but oh, Dan going off track, and it is an invalidation, and yeah, just pushing it a little bit too much there. That is not good. He probably will set this time, I'd imagine, just to have it on the board, have something to compete against on his final run, unless he wants to come in and try and get 2 runs in, but let's see if he does set this time and what it would have been, where it would have got him. It looks like it's going to be a 15, no, it's a 16.1, so it would have been good enough for P4 for Dan, but he does have another chance at it, and we'll get back to the garage pretty promptly. McKender still in the pits, and we've seen this from him last season a few times, where he sits in the garage until the very last moment, and then just he likes to have all that pressure on him, it seems. Or maybe he doesn't care about the pressure, just likes the challenge of going out for that last run, and hopefully not invalidating and trying to contest for pole. It's a big ask, but yeah, McKender chilling in the garage. Meepo does take pole though, 1:15.8.
Yeah, I was going to pick up on that as well while you were covering, Dan, that Meepo did bang it in pole. Justin invalidated his lap, but he finished it anyway, and it was a 16.4. So at the moment, Justin is struggling, it may seem, but so is everyone else, it appears. With those invalidations, to pick up on Super Mac there in the pits, I often call him Mac Alien because he's a freaking alien, this guy. But I'm actually starting to think, yeah, he is not human. Like, who sits in the pits and effectively does one run in Portimao? Like track invalidation hell, this track is. But that's confidence for you. That's confidence in your own ability. But so far, the 2 of the most successful drivers ever in SLR are currently last and second last with no time on the board. And who am I running on board here with Justin? I think he invalidated again. Oh, this is a disaster. This is absolutely disaster for Mr. Justin. He's going to have to whip it into the pits and go for one last run. I think that was an invalidation. I'm not sure whether he was doing a lap or not, but alas, we will see. I have been saying alas a lot in this short stream already, and I need to stop doing it. Yep, Justin is in the pits. So we're going to get one final run, Chief, and it's this grid is going to get mixed up very quickly in the next 5 minutes, and a lot of pressure on this first race with Dan and Mac. They need to start off on their best foot running to get a good time on the board.
Yeah, and Luke GDI is out of this session, so he wasn't able to put a time on the board. I'm wondering if he has some technical issues, maybe, with his setup not working correctly. Because we saw him out there, but he wasn't doing much, and now he's out of the session. So hopefully he can get back you know, back to it for the race. But it's very unusual to see Luke at the back of the grid alongside the McLaren guys. I mean, these are three guys you'd imagine would be up front right now, but it's a funny old game, and it's good to see Desi as well. Now Ferrari is back, currently P13 though, which is unlike him. He's usually pretty good at these qualies, but from what I'm hearing, he hasn't had much time on the game recently, so that is obviously reflected in his time currently.
Yeah, as you say, Desi has been away. I think he's been off doing some sort of military duty or something like that, so fair play to him. But yeah, I always expect him to do well. But as you said, Chief, the final row, or the very back of the track, has three three SLR champions. And to touch on Justin, whenever I was saying he looked like he'd been struggling a little bit, he did actually confirm it for us, which was handy in chat, that letting us know that Portugal is not only his weakest, but it's his least favourite track. And I would understand that. I'm not a fan of Portugal myself, but it's all about, I suppose this is the track for these guys. It's damage limitations. Just get the best you can get and move on from there. It's going to be a long season with some fantastic tracks, as you touched on, Chief. I may even risk an old reserve myself. Some of these are going to be really exciting, but we will see. We are getting into the final section of quali. I've only got two guys out on track at the moment, Crystals and Fox. And within the next, say, 2 minutes or so, hopefully we'll see some these times dropping down to, mid-15, something like that.
Yeah, starting to see some guys coming out of the pits now, but I'm right on board with Fox here as he starts his lap. He is probably going to have a little bit of traffic to encounter as these guys are just up the road ahead, just on their out lap. But yeah, Fox on board, heading into turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 sequence. Quite a fast sequence of corners. And it looked like he kind of, I don't know, backed off a little bit through there. I'm not familiar with this track as much as they should be, even though I just point out I won a Tier 4 championship at this track somehow, someway.
Chief,
oh.
Chief, have you seen this? Mac has retired in the pits.
Oh my word, okay.
So I think I have an idea what Mac is thinking. But I don't want to say it on stream because it might set people off. But let's just say he may be anticipating, how will I say this? He may be anticipating that the new additions or rules to the track will bring out a safety car. Let's just leave it like that.
Okay.
So that's maybe what he's banking on.
Yeah, so back to Fox, so he did have to navigate those cars ahead of him, did so successfully. There was a wee bit touch and go there at one point, but he's actually backed out of his lap, so he was not going to improve, it seems, and has to make do with a P9 for now, but that might see him drop down the order a bit, as everybody's out on track right now apart from McKender and Luke, and yeah, even Danico is on an outlap, so we're...
If I can just say, I'm just touching on Justin here. He's the main guy I'm going to watch. He's the first guy ahead of us all, most likely to get pole. He is starting his final lap, Chief. But if we can just stick on board with him to see how he navigates this, excuse me, and we'll be keeping our eyes firmly fixed on the Delta, see how he's getting on. I know he kind of listens, so I don't want to put him off too much, but there's a car up ahead, gets well out of the way, and he's got one more car up ahead. He is setting purple sector 1. This is what we were expecting from Justin. This is more like the Justin that we know, especially on his weakest track. If he gets that pole here, this would be a banging result for him. And up ahead here, he's navigate these few corners. You said, Chief, this corner here is notoriously difficult to get it on the traction, but you can gain so much time if you nail it. And again, keep our eyes fixed on the sector 2 as he's going to be crossing the sector 2 time. Is he able to carry it? He is. Oh my goodness, he's up a lot. He is up a ton. I was going to say a S word there. A poo-ton. He's up, and he's only got his teammate ahead of him, and he will not cause him any issue. May even get a distance slipstream, unlikely for the distance. But here we go, Chief. Coming around the last long loop, deploying everything he's got. Is this going to be provisional pole? I think it will be. No! Oh my goodness, it's not. What did he lose? He's up to P4.
Wow. That was a good effort though from him, given it isn't his favourite track and he feels he's weak here. So P4, it's nothing to be scoffed at. I have to laugh though. You said Pouton. I thought you said a French swear word there.
Pouton. Oh yes, right. Hold on. But we're waiting for Dan to complete his lap as well. But Meepo at the moment with a fantastic lap. Currently on pole. Dan has invalidated, so he is not getting it. It's a disaster start for McLaren, although maybe not, we'll see. But yeah, Dan has invalidated, so he's not getting pole. Luke's not getting pole. He's not here. Mac retired in the pits. I think that's it. That is it, actually. Meepo in the Williams takes the fastest time in Portimao this week in SLR with a 15.668 and sticks it on pole alongside his fellow Finn Junari with a 15.8, also beating the Tier 2 time. And look at that, snapping at their heels here is the Haas of Equals and Rombostrat. And as you said, Chief, Justin with his teammate just behind him, Justin, on his weakest track, the track he does not like, to stick it in the top, 5? That is fantastic news for him, knowing that his main rivals of recent seasons are way at the back. So it is all to play him for, and we're getting a chat in Lepson saying Rainbow Meeps. I don't think so. No, we got Rainbow in turn for it.
Yep, there we go. Meepo top of the pops. Tenari joins him on the front row of the grid. It's a Finnish lockout at the front, but it's a Greek lockout on the second row. It's Equals and Rombostrat, new drivers to Tier 1, performing very well. Their early efforts cemented them P3 and P4. Justin Ayrton P5. Actually, French third row of the grid. So Justin and Moxie P5, P6. Rayad is P7. What is the nationality for Rayad? Is that like
I'm not sure. We need Joel or Speedy in here for their geoguesser skills to tell us that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, that is good effort from him. P7 in quali, so he's obviously been putting some work in behind the scenes in between seasons. Look forward to see what he can do. We saw earlier in the week with Tier 2 and Tier 3, bit of rain, but looks like blue skies there, a bit of grey cloud there, kind of threatening maybe a bit of rain later in the race, but for the start, it looks like we're going to have a dry race. Yep, Lepson.
Yes,
nice.
Yeah, Bosnia Herzegovina, yeah. I was going to say, just to touch on Riyadh, I have many times last season, I believe, I have complimented Riyadh. I just really like the guy. I like his approach. He doesn't boast. He doesn't really post much actually in chat. He just turns up, grinds out the practice, does his racing, and he's a good wee racer too. I've raced alongside him. He's got good racecraft, and he just turns up every week, does his thing, doesn't complain, and he moves on. And I think to see him up so high, especially in Tier 1, I'm really chuffed for him. It's a good guy, and I've said many times it's a good addition to SLR.
Yep, indeed. Couldn't agree more. And we are underway for a formation lap. We got a formation lap this one, that's great. Safety car is on. We got dry weather conditions. Let's have a look at the tires though. I'm seeing Meepo on mediums. A lot of guys on mediums actually, Bob. That's interesting. The hards, there's two guys on hards, and McKender is one of them. I would have said before this race, hards are not the tire for this track, but McKender is on hards. Is he just trying to make it hard for himself today? Excuse the pun.
Well, he may do, but I think it's already going to be hard starting last in Portimao, and you've got Dan the man in front. Of course, they are teammates, and then Luke as well. But see, I've said it many times, Chief, and we've seen this happen so many times as well. The problem arises for these guys is when you have guys that are signature than the majority of the grid, and they're at the back where they're out of place, and they have to pass on track guys that are, with respect, significantly slower than them. So they are going to have to navigate Joel and Crawley and Fox and Crystal, etc., until they get up to the top, 6, 7, something like that. That's when the disaster can happen. That's when they have to be really careful, really calculated with their overtakes. I mean, I don't even tell them they're multiple Tier 1 champions, but that's where the that's where the possible banana skins could turn up. I would agree with you. The hards wouldn't be something I would have picked for Portimao. But then again, softs as well. I mean, they're going to get cooked really quickly. I don't know. I just do think the safety car is quite likely.
Yeah, and McKenna was doing a lot of work there, warming up those tires. Was falling behind quite a bit there. I was wondering if there's something actually up. But yeah, he was just warming his tires rather aggressively, which I guess is what you need to do for a hard tire start to this race. And Bob, we're about to get underway. Let's do this.
So yesterday I called it whenever Equals was in P2. I says he will get past Christian before the start of the end of lap 1 because it was wet. I'm going to run on board with Equals because, considering what I think he uses, he might get a good launch off the line here and challenge Tunaman and Meepo. So I'm going to use the onboard camera for this one myself, and let's see what happens. Lights are out and boom, we're gone, and you can see that is actually a really good start from him. But he's getting boxed. Oh, he's getting boxed in here by Meeps and Tunaman, and he runs way off track. But he does manage to capitalise, and he gets the P2. Further back now, we've got the Ferrari getting challenged by the Haas as well. Haas got a bit of a shunt there. I think he may have got a little bit of damage. He took a really wide run. Justin is still lurking here in the background. Justin is actually going for the move, and he moves up to P4. As you would expect, of course, Romstrat is not making it easy for him. The Red Bulls are fighting further back as well. But you would expect Justin to start navigating up the grid pretty quickly with these softs on. But Meepo so far is able to hold the first position that he's got, and he probably will hold it for the next few laps. I think these guys should settle down after 1 or 2 laps. But let me see further. Oh, who was that? That was Riyadh. My goodness, that was a massive tank slapper he got, and he held on to it. That could have been disaster already for Riyadh. But again, as I was complimenting him, he is a very good driver, and he's getting better and better. Following on further down, Chief, we've got Luke. Luke is really flying up the grid. Look at this here. He is up to P10 as he passes Naikou, and Meepo crossing the final lap. Oh, what's what happened up here further ahead, Chief? We've got Justin passing Tunaman, and Tunaman probably isn't going to fight that one initially because he knows that he is on the fresher tires. Feel free to interrupt me anytime you want, Chief. But Fox is getting dropped back off us here. Luke is really on a mission here, up to P9 already, up many positions. Dan and Mac.
Oh, and
we got a collision!
You see
We
that?
got a collision. Yeah, I saw that. And then Dan ran into the back of someone there. I don't think he got damaged, but is that a safety car? No, it won't be a safety car. I don't think so. Oh my goodness! Dan, this is what I was saying. These faster guys, excuse me, they trip over the slower guys. The faster guys can brake much later. They're much more accomplished drivers, and this is what can happen. You need to really pick your way past these slower guys. What's this? Tudge, I think is what he wants it. Tudge is really battling Riyadh here. He does a nice cutback on Riyadh, but Riyadh will have the inside line to cover this off. He runs him out as far as he is allowed. But yeah, I think Tudge is going to hold on to this unless Riyadh can go around the outside. No, Tudge's got too much grip. Riyadh is really deploying a bit of battery here, and he's actually going to snooker himself here, running a bit too close to him. But he's going to get the move back done on Tudge, and then Tudge is now on the slipstream of Riyadh, and he's going to try and go up the inside of Riyadh. Sure, he's going to send it here. No, wisely backs off. I think it runs off the track for good measure. I need to take a breather, Chief.
Yeah, you're doing a good job there. I was admiring the comms there myself, becoming a spectator. But yeah, Tuge, he was fighting hard there. He might have picked up a warning, and that's what I'm thinking from the previous races this week. A lot of penalties came through. It is a long race, and it is very easy just to run a little bit long and extend outside the track. You can see there the white line is the limit, and a lot of guys on. Oh, Luke is out. What's happened?
I don't see him. Where is he? Where's Naikou? Let's see Naikou. Where's Naikou? Where is Luke? Passing here. He's somewhere else.
He's on the left hand side, yeah. Oh yeah, he's right on the left hand side there, yeah. Don't know what happened though. I don't know. I did notice during the during the pre-race, he rejoined the session, so I think that would indicate he's having some technical issues. So might not be a driver fault, that one, but we could maybe try to find out after the race.
Tudge is having a move on Riyadh, sorry, Chief, as Dan the Man is also passing Moxie. Excuse me. Not really much of a battle there because they're on the different tire compounds, but Dan the Man slowly marching his way up. Oh, who's that? Up Crystal. The inside of Moxie is Crystal. Sorry, Chief. I did not see that one coming. I should have expected it. And now Max is having, Super Mac is having a go at Moxie as well. He's desperate to get past to keep in touch with his teammate. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I just saw Danny and, McKender and Moxie coming very close together. Moxie has a time penalty somewhere around all that. But yeah, McKender is carving his way through the field and trying to keep in touch with Danny up ahead there. But yeah, a lot of opportunistic moves going on in the midfield here.
Yeah, that was quite a send by Crystals. I think it was within reason. It was good hard racing. Of course, you always have to expect Crystal to do that kind of thing. But Crawley is now eyeing up Moxie as well here. I seen that Luke rejoined, so he definitely must be having some connection issues because, we've watched him a lot last season. He doesn't really make mistakes on track, so that's probably a computer or internet issue. But Crawley is now having a go here at Moxie DRS. Of course, Moxie will have DRS as well, but superior slipstream and tyres. And there's not really much that Moxie can do about that, Chief. So these guys at the front, I'll shut up in a minute, but these guys at the front have to expect at some point that they will be joined by Supermac and Dan the Man at some point in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, big shout out to Crawley Voice. Good form at this track so far. He finished P2 on Tier 3. And he's holding his own here. He's in P12, but in touching distance of points and showing some good pace out there and some good racecraft. Riyadh, oh no, Riyadh gets a 3-second time penalty, so that's a second time penalty, and we're only in lap 5.
Mac is having a wee look here at Crystals. Crystals is really struggling on the rear end grip. We all know how intimidating it can be when you have Super Mac behind you, although Super Mac will not be doing anything rash. He's on the hards, he's playing the long game. He's playing the long game, but he will probably want to get past Crystals as soon as possible here because you can see that he does have much more pace in the corners. But I'm sure. Oh, what's this? What was he doing there? That was a bit of a strange weave by Crystals, but he's getting out of the slipstream. What's going to happen? He needs to navigate this way. I'm not sure Mac knows what Crystal's doing. He is a bit unpredictable, but yeah, Mac will be delighted to get past Crystals, and yeah, so that's pretty good. What else are we seeing here, Chief? I'm seeing Tuna Man. Tuna Man is right on the gearbox here of Justin. Justin, of course, is in the DRS here with these other guys. Those softs will be dropping off. Dan the Man is having a go here at Riyadh. Riyadh will fight it within reason. Pretty clean driver, as I said. And Dan the Man has up ahead of him a Desi. But yes, as I was saying there, Tuna Man will be eyeing up Justin here because I was going to say eyeing up his rear end, but that would have been appropriate. Because those softs will be starting to die, Chief. So expect something to happen shortly.
Yeah, we have kind of, there's so much battling going on the back end of the grid. We have kind of neglected the front end. But yeah, these guys are... they're running very closely together, P1 to P5, all in the DRS train, and then you've got P6 on those softs, kind of falling off pace a little bit. And as you said, yeah, the softs, I think around about now, they're going to start to drop off in performance, get a wee bit slippy, might be having some overheating issues, so that's something to watch out for, especially on this track where grip is such a big key factor for pace.
Yeah, I seen that Tuna Man was really close there to Justin, so I think these tires are starting to go. Romstrat is pulling out off the DRS there. I think that's more giving him a bit of buffer in the braking. Tudge is getting passed by Desi. Tudge is trying to go for the cutback. Not going to work at this stage. Those softs are pretty much done. And Dan is also trying to navigate Chief here. Tudge, he'll be desperate to get past him as soon as possible. And this is really good work by Dan and Mac. they're working their way up, not even 10 laps in, and they are within the top 10. Again, Chief, like I said, if you want to hop in, just interrupt me because I can waffle all day, even with the sore throat. But what's going on here now? Yeah, I want to keep a wee eye here on Justin and Tuna Man. I think if Justin drops, or if he loses that DRS to equals, he's then going to get gobbled up by the Ferrari of Tuna. Because look at that, equals is getting well out of the slipstream, not going to give any advantage at all to Justin behind, although I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference. These tyres are dying quickly. But Tuna quite low on battery. In fact, so is Justin actually. Look at this, equals has got a poo ton off battery. So yeah, what's happening elsewhere? Dan the man is getting involved in a wee bit of hanky. Oh yeah, and then he gets caught out there. He needs to. He has to pass Tudge now. He has to. He's going to get disaster if he doesn't. And he needs to cover off Tudge going up the inside. Yeah, not challenging him, so that's okay. Now, Chief, as I said, this is where it starts getting a little bit more tricky for Dan, because you start coming up against very accomplished drivers. Not saying everyone else isn't, but these guys are a little bit cut above in terms of their raw pace. And they'll put up a bit more of a challenge. However, in saying that, Adesi, again, a smart racer, a long racer, races to the end, so he'll probably not put up too much of a fight.
Yeah, the problem for Adesi right now is he doesn't have anyone ahead of him to leech off the DRS, and yeah, Danico's about to show how potent that DRS is. As Adesi gets a bit of a slide out of the last corner, and that's definitely not going to help his chances. And Dan's well within slipstream. Might not even have to use too much ERS here. Just a bit of DRS as he pulls up alongside on the start finish line, and yep, it's one and done before they even get to the corner. So Adesi wisely choosing not to fight that too much. So I think right now for Dan, it's that gap he's got to work on, 5.3 to the lead pack. But he's well within touching distance now, and he gets a big tank slapper there. Sketchy moment.
Yeah. Seen that squeaky bum time that there. Also, I seen Adesi sliding into that corner as well. So these everyone struggling. Chief with grip. Also, keep a wee eye. I have to keep a wee eye on this P4. It's only a matter of time before we see some kind of challenge to that P3. Adesi gets himself a 3-second time penalty, and these time penalties will play quite a significant role at the end of this race. As we've seen in Tier 2, our gamer won on track with quite a really clever and inventful strategy. I think he yeeted it off Yarno with that intermediate strat, but of course time penalty came against him and he lost the win. So keeping these time penalties to the minimum. What's this? Crawley's having a little bit of a look at Crystals, and he's going to get the DRS. This should be pretty straightforward. It's not always straightforward when passing the Italian Crystals, but that was quite uneventful. So there we go. Oh, he's actually getting passed by Moxie as well, and he does not want that. Crystals does not want that, and he even runs off track. So he was like, not happening. Actually, Chief, do you know what? Crystals was the one that actually sent it on Moxie earlier on. So I think Moxie has got a little bit of I wouldn't say red miss, but I think he remembered that. He banked oh my goodness, he just about misses the rear end of Crystals. So this one is starting to heat up between Moxie and Crystals. Moxie will have remembered that send, and he's looking to repay him a little bit of rubber there, Chief. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Great to see so many battles for the track. I just want to touch on one thing as well. Meepo at the front here, he's leading quite comfortably. He does have equals keeping him on his toes here behind, but Meepo does have experience of racing against the likes of these new drivers, equals, and the Tier 2 drivers. He is a Tier 2 champion, has beaten these guys before, so that's a wee something in his pocket, wee bit of a confidence boost as he continues to control this race. Good to see a return to form from Meepo.
Well, I'll touch on Meepo in a minute to see Tug is bitten past. Crystals, what is he doing? Okay. Sorry. I was watching Crawley. He is really, really struggling on grip here at the moment. So they are dancing on ice at the moment, and Moxie and those hards will be loving this. On Maple, excuse me, that doesn't sound very good. I'm sure his dad will be wondering, why are we not watching Maple? But I mean, oh my goodness, Moxie is just about. He will be. Well, why are we not watching Maple? Because he's got such a commanding lead. Although in saying that, he is coming under pressure now at equals. But yes, as you said, Maple does have a lot of experience in this. He was a tier 2 driver. He did use all the assists. And he listened to us. People think we kind of complain and moan. We don't. We try to see the best in everyone. And he listened to us. He dropped them all. And he has become quite a phenomenal driver. He is, didn't you say he's a tier 2 champion, isn't he?
Yep, tier 2 champ. And but just to cut away for that brief second, Justin has lost DRS. He's now under major attack from Tenari and Rompostram, who both pass him on the start-finish straight, but Rompo is alongside Tenari and feeds in behind. So Tenari up to P3, Rompo P4, Justin on those 11-lap-old sauce. And just a wee bit of information on tires. There was guys earlier in the week ran the sauce for 16 laps, so that seems to be the kind of maximum. But obviously, you're kind of compensating lack of pace. Then once you get into the double digits, I reckon, for sauce.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, there's a different caliber, let's say, to these like Justin, for example, and the guys in tier 2, with respect. And so he may get them less because of his just outright pace, or maybe I'm doing that wrong. Maybe he'll get them even further. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. But I think he'll be looking to get rid of these anytime soon. And I will be keeping a wee eye on Equals because he is squeezing up on Meepo. In fact, I tell you what, he has been using battery to squeeze up on Meepo. And Meepo has been using his to defend, so that explains it. But look, you can see when he's not deploying too much, Meepo is able to get that back up to the 8ths, to the 0.8s. But here comes Equals. DRS is open. He's not deploying battery, which is wise. And he's squeezing up on the back end, so he's going to start putting Meepo under pressure. And although he's a young man, I think he just turned 18. He is quite experienced with these kind of situations, so I have every faith in Meepo. He will be able to manage this no problem. He has experienced this kind of pressure before, and he has dealt with it before, as Equals just about misses the rear end of Meepo. So keeping a wee eye on that. What's happening here? Riyadh was almost pushing a Desi down this hill. So yeah, we're seeing some of these guys, their tire, even though they're on the same tires, see, some of them are really struggling for grip, whereas others are not.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on Justin as well. Like, obviously his soft tires have seen better days, but the fact that he lost that DRS to the front runners, that kind of broke up that train, allowed Equals and Meepo to kind of scoot up the road a little bit. So the gap from P2, for example, to Tenari, and that we might see that further increase as Meepo and Equals, obviously they've got their own wee DRS train going on there. And Tenari is having to fight off Rompostram from behind. It looks like Rompo is going to go for a move here on the start-finish straight, and he makes that look easy. So Rompo up to P3. It's Haas P2, P3, looking good for those guys. But they are just slightly out of touch of the front two now. Meepo and Equals in a race of their own, it seems.
And we had a brief yellow on track there. It was Joel getting himself into all kinds of trouble at the end of Sector 2. That's why he is so far off the grid. Let me see, where else can we see? Mac is caught up at the back end of this group. Caught up at the back end of this group. I'm really struggling here. To speak, anybody call it. Mac, yes, has caught up at the back end of this group. A good bit of battery as well. Riyadh was struggling, I seen earlier on grip. Mac probably will not be struggling quite as much on these hard, so could play well into his favour this.
Yeah, I think this is around that point where the hards like do come into their own, whereas these medium tires, the soft tires especially, are definitely dropping off. So we might see a few moves from McKenna here. He might want to extend his run a little bit. He might even want to go to softs at the end. So yeah, and the Ryad, I did see his DRS light blinking. So oh, and we are starting to see some guys in the pits. It's Justin in the pits, Ryad in. Sorry, Justin and Tugay, the two soft runners in the pits.
Yeah, as you said that. Oh my goodness, Ryan, he's not giving this one up at all, and that's a bit of that's an off. Now you see the rules would state that's an off track. That was an off track, but Mac does get it. He tried to fight the Super Mac, but alas, like many others before him, has come out the worst. In the best case scenario, of course, the worst. I don't mean getting wrecked, but. He did run off track there briefly and came back ahead. So that would have been an off track. But alas, I said it again. I need to stop saying alas. It's just such a convenient, connecting word there. Yes, Mac up to P7. His teammate Dan, not too far up ahead the road in P5. Yeah, we did see Justin coming into the pits there. I have to excitedly commentate on a pit stop, that's right, but I'll have to commentate on Babs when I'm doing that. Tuna Man, most likely going to see a possible bit of action here coming around to this main straight. Romstrat won't have the benefit of DRS. Mr. Tuna will. Most likely not going to get a move done here, but he's going to squeeze up the back end of him. No chance of a move getting done there. So it's all about piling on as much pressure as you can in the front on these guys, because traction zones are quite tricky in Portugal, depending on the driver, of course. But this hairy section here can also be a bit tricky in the traction if you don't get it right. Too much off the track and you'll lose it, I believe. I think the previous game was like that. You just could not touch the curbs. But yeah, Tuna is looking like the closest, really, Chief, that I can see that's going to make a move. I can see that Crystals is close to Crawley, but
yeah, McKenna as well. I think he's closed up on a Desi, who does seem to be struggling out there today. He does have a time penalty as well, so McKenna might get a move on here before the pits play out. And I'm thinking this is key. This is like the pit window for the medium runners. Anytime from now onwards, you can switch over. You could go to hards. You could try to run a wee bit longer on these mediums, maybe lap 18, 19, 20, switch on to sauce, and I think that's what we're going to see from most of the drivers here, is Meepo and Equal stay out. P3, P4 also staying out. Tanari is on the back of Rompostrad, and he's going to get this move done. Yes, he gets it done nice and handily there. So back up to P3 for Tunaman, but 3 seconds off the lead pack. So they have lost a second in the last few laps on that lead pack.
Yeah, I seen that coming pretty early on there, because Rompostrad was starting to slide as he was navigating that near the start of that sector 3. Which let the Tunaman catch up on the back end of him. Riyadh also getting a little bit of oversteer. He seems to have a bit of an oversteery setup. He's suffering a lot on these tight corners. Who else is up close? Equals is actually very close now to Meeps. As you said, we'll be expecting to see some of these guys in soon. Equals not really much battery, but he's got more than Meepo. We'll see how he gets on here. Is he will have the DRS. Again, I don't think 6/10. I don't think that's enough. I think that's. Or maybe he can actually. Maybe that is enough. Maybe he could get him here. This will be a very late send if Equal was using his battery wisely. But this is going to be a pretty late one if Equals manages to do it. Here we go. No, he backs out of it wisely. Wisely backs out of that one, because that would have been disaster. Sorry, Chief, I missed. Scrubblestrat passing Tunaman.
Yeah, just the same as previous, swaps about on the start-finish rate. McKender, however, does get past Desi on the start-finish rate. He is up to P6, so it's McLaren P5, P6, But yeah, Danny Coe, it has to be said, he has not made any inroads in that gap. It was 5.4 about 10 laps ago, and it's 6.3 now. So he's kind of in no man's land at the minute. Probably hoping that those pit stops come sooner rather than later. Just as an aside, Bob, I wanted to ask, what is the Scottish term for a girl?
I don't know.
A lass.
Oh, a lass. Oh yes, a wee lassie. Ah, of course.
I just was trying to get you to say a lass again, but
oh, well done. Well, that's right, a wee lass. That's right, a wee lassie. That's right. Purple burglar alarm.
Bonnie lassie.
Purple burglar alarm. Oh, what? There was another one. An Irish wrist watch. Try say that, Chief.
An Irish wrist watch. Okay.
Aye, no gaps. Irish wrist watch. We are seeing moves here, Chief. Oh, sorry, that's right. They're in the pits. Sorry, Equals and Meepo in the pits.
Yeah.
Tunaman leading this grid now. Yes, could I go ahead?
I was just gonna say that's interesting. Meepo called. Yeah, he went in first, so he was the first to pull the trigger. Equals decided to stay with him. Didn't want to overextend the run. Just happy enough just to feed off the DRS and hang in with Meepo. So yeah, those are the first two to blink. They go on to soft tires, so they've got what 15 laps, 14 laps to do on these softs, which is quite doable. And Tenari and Rompo stay out, so they're choosing to extend a lap or two. Probably going to come in this lap, I'd imagine.
Yep, I would expect so. But at the moment, this is what you would say Meepo's race to lose. He's done a great job so far, and let's see where he ends up whenever these guys pit ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got Justin ahead of him, who has pitted but is on these 4-lap mediums. But Meepo should rein him in pretty quickly, and I would imagine get past him pretty quickly as well.
Rubber Strap going for the race lead. Tunaman pulling out to the middle of the track. And these guys have just been going switcheroo all day so far. I knew I'd get that word in eventually. Switch, or when you play Trivium Pursuit. Oh no, Dan the Man gets 3-second time penalty. Disaster, but easily done. Very easily done. But what I was going to say, when you played Trivia Pursuit on the Switch, there's a game called Switchagory, and I would love to throw that in, but I can't think of any reason why I would say Switchagory. Oh, Naiko, 5-second time penalty in the speeding lane.
Oh, no.
Speeding in the pit lane. Hopefully we've still got people watching, because we probably sound absolutely terrible. Terrible?
12 years, Bob, we're doing alright.
12, what's a record? I think the most we ever had was like 200 or 300, something like that. That was the EGL days. Remember those? They were great crack. But look, there's loads of people putting on the softs. As you said, a lot of them did see that 16 lap yesterday, or whenever it was. They did those 16 laps on the softs. Tunaman and Rompostrap will be looking to come into the pits sometime soon. I mean, it's a kind of a case of do what the other person doesn't do, or just do the same. So yeah, do the same. So they are in. What's Dan the Man going to do? Is Dan the Man going to come in? No, Dan is staying out. Mac, as you would expect, would stay out. Desi staying out as well. Yeah, well, of course, as you would say, Meepo. Oh, I missed that. Sorry, Meepo passing. Hang on, did Equals just pass Justin? I just switch over the last minute there. So yeah. It's a resumption then of this battle for the race win. In currently in P4 and P5, it's Meepo and Equals right at it, and I think actually Equals has kind of benefited a little bit. He's a little bit closer to Meepo this time round than he was previously, so watch this space.
Yeah, both Meepo and Equals very low on ERS, so hopefully they both have guys telling them, passing on this information, because you ever been in that spot where you're out of ERS and you don't know the other guy's out of ERS, but if you had known that, it would have definitely taken a lot of pressure off you, because you always think the worst. You always think that guy's got like 80-90%, and you're down on your arse, so to say.
Yes, but I think that may come back to bite them, Chief, because they're not going to have really much battery now to defend with or extend with. They might have to use each other now for the DRS to conserve or to build that. But yeah, I think they maybe used a bit too much battery.
Yeah, possibly, as Danico does pit. Adesi pits. McKender stays out on those old hards, so he's happy to extend the run, and he will benefit from fresher sauce once he does pit. But yeah, Meepo essentially leading this race with equals, keeping him on his toes. As we said, this race isn't over yet. It's pretty much going to come down to Meepos or equals, unless someone else has a stellar run on these soft tires. Tanari, for example, is almost 10 seconds behind Meepo.
Yeah, so we've got Meepo and equals battle, and we've got Tsunari and Rumpostrat battle continuing on. But I'll tell you what I think what will probably happen, Chief, is I think that Meepo and equals will be battling for this race win, all the way until maybe near the end. And I think that their party will get spoiled by a certain Mac, Justin, or Dan. That's what I think.
Interesting. Let's hope for fireworks. Yeah, we always like a bit of fireworks at the end of a race. Keep us on our toes.
And I'll tell you what, sorry, we're going to see a move here for P5. Rumpostrat is going to continue where they both left off and doing the switchagori. There we go. On the DRS as Mac pits. Here we go. Yeah, he's going to get it done pretty quickly here. He's lifted. Did he lift? Hey, did Rumpostrat lift there? It sounded like he lifted. Well, I see. Oh, they're done it again. He got the move done anyway. So there we go. Down the man up into P7 now after the pits. Mac, Super Mac coming out on P9 on these mediums, and he's got Crawley right up the gearbox. And Crawley is not one to hesitate. He doesn't care who it is. He sees points, is all he sees, and I want them, is what he's thinking. But yeah, I think he'll probably back off that one because he knows he'll not be able to hold Super Mac off.
But here, Bob, look at that. McKenna goes for mediums. Like, again, defying logic. You would have thought he would have won on the sauce for the last 10 laps of this race, but he obviously favours those medium tires. Is he just trying to make it harder for himself? Is it like not challenging enough Tier 1? He has to like be on the harder tire compound than anyone else?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose we could think that, but I know he did say one time that whether he was joking around that he likes to just make it a bit more interesting, as if it's just too easy for him. Well, he would never say that. Of course, he's a humble chap. Oh, Crowley! Yeah, that's that DRS gone pretty much. But no, just some drivers just feel more confident and have more pace on certain tires. I know Ice. What's happening here? Sorry, Crowley's getting passed by Adesi. Just seen that slipping up the inside.
Yeah, he followed him through that last corner pretty closely and then was able to get alongside before they even got to the straight part. As Crawley is going for a move down the inside, did Adesi just back out of that? I don't.
No, Adesi was playing it far too clever. Far too clever. Adesi is he's been around the block a few times.
Yeah, Crawley gets a time penalty as well from that. I think that's his second penalty as well. Yep, 6 seconds for Crawley, unfortunately.
Well, that should be hopefully a learning experience, not a negative, but a good learning experience from Crawley. He should bank that one into his knowledge and build up his racecraft portfolio for a later day, because that was a lovely bit of racecraft from Adesi. He may be off pace with his other life excursions, but he certainly knows how to race. Meepo's doing a good job here of keeping equals at bay. Equals, of course, was 1.3 of a second behind, and he's got it up now to almost 6. So
yeah, and it's obviously got the big battle for the win, Meepo and equals, but there's also a big battle forming here for P3, the last podium spot for this race. Justin on these older mediums, but he has 2 guys behind battling as Tanari right on cue passes Rumpostrat, P4 and P5 on these softs. Only 2 seconds behind Justin. That is going to come down to the wire for that final podium spot. Is Justin going to be able to hold on, or can Tanari and Rumpostrat put aside their differences and work together to try to get within range? Well, they pretty much are within range off that podium spot now. They can see Justin just down the road here, but obviously they don't want to fight too hard or they're going to lose out on a chance of podium.
Yeah. And just on that wee battle I touched on earlier, that Moxie and Crystal were fighting, and Moxie did pass Crystals, but I think this is probably going to go all the way to the end. So again, as you say, Chief, we've got action all over the grid, and Rumbostrap and Tunaman are just going to constantly switch around lap after lap, I would expect. But Equals is very, very, very close. Well, he was for a moment there, very close to Meepo. And I think this might be the move for the race lead. Almost certainly the move for the race lead, unless Equals doesn't want it. No, well, he doesnn't want it. He's quite happy to sit here. I don't. Okay, so obviously I understand that he wants to sit there because he wants the DRS. If that being said, then why use your battery?
Sorry, Bob, to interrupt, but there's been something happening here between Justin and Tenari. Look at the gap; it's 0.3. So Justin has either made a mistake there, or he's back off. Oh, as Tenari goes for the move down the inside, and that's it. He's up to P3. So Tenari has now got Justin between him and Rumbostrap, which is further good news for Tenari, as he will want this podium pretty badly.
I don't think Justin will be very happy. Excuse me. About that move, because there was a little bit more contact than one would like, but of course he's under pressure now by... Oh my goodness, Justin gets a tank slapper, almost takes out Rumbostrap as well. So Rumbo will be thinking, my God, I want to get past Justin as soon as possible. Yeah, it's not going well here for Justin now. He's done well to keep it in P4, but he's now dropping off Tunaman. Tunaman will be delighted that he's got Justin as a buffer now to Rumbostrap.
Yep, and Equals is going for the move, yeah, and he's done it. This time he's decided he's going to take it. P1 for Equals. We're in lap 27 out of 33, so it's not over yet, but it's starting to get very, very spicy indeed.
Yeah, so what was I there? Justin in behind Rumbostrap, so he loses out in 2 places. Now, he is on 12 lap old mediums. And we do know around about something like 13, 14, something like that. We did see that they started to, was it 13 to 14 we started to see them, or maybe around 15 we started to see them kind of fall off a little bit. These softs will, you would expect, start to fall soon. So effectively the guy on the best tyre really is Mac, really, Chief. So maybe he has played a blinder, but he doesn't have many laps left. I will be keeping an eye on this Justin Rumbostrap Tunaman battle, but if I can just touch on what I was going to say earlier, I didn't understand what Equals was doing there, because he was reluctant to overtake but using his battery. Surely if you're reluctant to overtake, you would be charging your battery. Yeah. But he has, he's done a good job of actually building up a good bit already. Meepo, if it was me, I would sit behind. If I was Meepo, I would just sit here. I wouldn't use any battery. I would just sit here and cook that battery for the last couple of laps as Tunaman gets past.
Bob just caught McKender. He's overtaken 2J. There was a bit of contact though coming out of the last corner, but McKender does get the move done. He's up to P7, and I tell you what, Ryad's hanging in as well with McKender. He's right behind Tuj now. Will want to set up a move of his own, as he is on these 8 lap softs. He wants to get the most out of them. And Danny Co is 5 seconds off Justin, so I wonder, can he close that gap down and maybe do a bit of damage there, maybe pick up an extra point or two. Does have that time penalty as well, kind of hanging over him, but yeah, right now it's all hell for leather.
All hell for leather is right, Chief. This Tunaman Rumbostrap battle is quite good. If it ends on track, it'll be quite interesting, because they are very close to each other. Justin is probably just delighted to be within touching distance of this DRS to keep up, but I don't think he is going to be able to hold it, because down the man on those softs, they're not too bad. But what's going to happen here now? So we're going to see Tunaman not deploying, but the battery is open, and Rumbostrap has no battery worth talking about to fight this, and neither is Justin actually. So these guys are using a lot of battery. Meatball is squeezing up on Equals, and he should be cooking that. Charge that battery, Meeps. Charge it. Get it charged.
It looks like Meepo is charging the battery, but Equals as well is charging at the same time. He's obviously on to Meepo, knows what the game is, and he's got 44%, Meepo 40%. So, yeah, I mean he's going to have something to defend with, but Meepo is definitely going to have something to work with as well on his offense.
So that would maybe means maybe needs to kind of second guess him, because Equals will probably be expecting a fight at the end. So
Yeah.
maybe go for it early. Try and make him, force him to drain some of that battery. We'll see how he navigates this. I'm sure there'll be a lot to say if Equals wins this Tier 1 race, good or bad, but we'll see. You still have to do it on track regardless, so he's doing a great job here currently in P1 in Tier 1. Meepo 5 tenths behind. They're actually pretty even batteries now. Where else are we? Nobody else really challenging. Rambo Strap squeezing up onto the back of Tuna, but nothing's done there. So that's probably going to continue until the DRS in the next lap. 3 laps to go. And it's hard to believe that Danny won't catch Justin, although he is a fair distance away. But these mediums will start to drop off, Chief. But then some of the softs, 8 laps. You know, I would not be surprised if we don't see many changes here. And my early prediction of seeing these guys creeping up onto the back of him may not happen. Well, Fox getting himself a time penalty there. So Meepo is indeed starting to put this pressure on Equals. So let's see, Equals done a good job here. He's got half a battery charged, as does Meepo. So they are, excuse me, they are matching each other like for like here in terms of their battery deployment and conservation. I think Meepo really will need to start putting some pressure on the Equals here. Not make it an easy ERS defense, and maybe a little bit of a dab of battery to force Equals to do something. Meepo is squeezing up. Nope, backing out of it. So yeah, Equals didn't deploy at all there, Chief. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a tricky one for Meepo to do this, because you know, if you've got plenty of battery, you can defend it. Not really many moves can happen down on this DRS. As you can see, by the time you get close enough, you have to brake. So, Rumble Strat also on the back of Tuna. So we've got a battle really for P1 and a battle for P3 on the grid. Justin's keeping within touching distance of these guys. Nothing really else, Chief. I don't think there's going to be many changes further back. No safety car, actually, which I'm pleasantly surprised at. I like to see it.
I think we had a brief yellow, and that was about it, wasn't it? Obviously, Luke out of the race, but I think that was technical issues that caused that. So, relatively, well, pristine, clean, and clean as a whistle race so far. Hopefully didn't scut it, but yeah, we're at the last 2 laps, so no safety car will come out at this point. Meepo comes out of the final corner on the start finish rate. He's 3 tenths down and is not using any ERS once again. Is he going to get this move down the outside? Oh, and again close the door from Equals. So it looks like Meepo is going to save it all for the last lap. We're on lap 32. Let's see if you can get it done on this one. I think it is going to come down to that last run onto the start finish straight. And yeah, Equals and Meepo exactly the same ERS pretty much. So it's going to have to come down to driver skill and not much else.
Yep, they're going to be driver skill and who's got the bigger cojones, let's say. I think it's just the nature of this track that it doesn't really give safety cars. Like, I mean, Lepson does say himself here, like 3 tiers without safety car is great to see. What's he saying? Haters would say it was off in tier 3. Oh, was it? Oh,
It was, yeah.
It was.
that's we weren't in charge of that one, Chief, so we'll not poo on someone else's parade, but here we go.
Yeah, this is it. It's a run down to the start finish rate. Just one bend to go, and Meepo 3 tenths behind. He's going to use ERS, I'd imagine. Yep, he's got ERS active, he's got DRS, he's got Slipstream, I think he's going to go for the inside, and he does. He pulls to the inside and gets the move done. So this is going to come down to who. Well, he's got enough to defend from equals for the rest of this lap, but it's going to come down to that same run onto the start-finish straight. It may be a photo finish at the line, unless Meepo can create a bit of distance here throughout the middle part of the lap, and equals. Oh, that was close, but I guess he has to run as close as possible to have any form of chance of getting this move back before the flag, but the track time is running out. We're in sector 2, about to head into sector 3, and it's very hard to pass anywhere but the the start finish rate. So equals down to 18% ERS, Meepo down to about the same, yeah, so I think it's done for Meepo. I think he's pulled this one off perfectly, unless Equals gets a stellar run out of this last corner. This is it. This is the last chance coming up now. So all that momentum, but yeah, Meepo looks like he's got it in the bag. And the red light is blinking for Meepo, but yep, looks like he's got it in the bag. Well played for Meepo across the line. Brilliant turn to form for him. P1 Meepo equals P2. Rumpelstrat takes P3 for the podium. Tenari just missing out there and coming home P4. And Justin hanging in for P5. Danico takes home the P6. McLaren P6 and P7. And we've got 2K across the line in P8. Ryad P9. Oh, what happened to Justin? Oh, he left the session. He left the session, yeah. Okay. So I think Justin was P5 then, P6, yeah. Danico, McKender, P7, Tugay, P8, Ryad, P9 then, and Adesi picking up the last points paying position of P10. What a great race from the Tier 1 guys. Jan in chat is very happy.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I am quite chuffed, quite happy to see Meepo do that. He done a great quality session. Managed to, I mean, what's this? Fox killing himself. If this had been early Meepo, in SLR, that would have been a bottle job at lap 5. But this is not early Meepo. This is the new and improved Meepo. This is the Tier 2 champion Meepo. This is the multiple. I think he's won a few races in Tier 1, actually. I may be wrong. And he managed this race fantastically. He paced himself wonderfully to the final lap, and he takes the first race win of this new season in SLR at Tier 1 Portimao. So may it long continue. Also, yes, correct, Jan. This is adult Meepo, and this is what we like to see. He's showing it on track as well. A lot of pace and a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? He's a lot of mental metal. He's got, so well done, Meeps. But also, I was going to point out, we do have Justin, Dan, and Mac in that top half of the grid. Fantastic result by Dan and Mac, of course, starting at the back. Whether it was voluntarily or not, and hey, look at that, Chief. Meepo only takes the fastest lap for good measure as well, so it's a full house for Meeps. What was that pole? Did he get pole, fastest lap, and the race win? That is what I would call domination of the Tier 1 kind. Great job, Meeps.
Yep, great job, Meepo. And that's how you want to start a season. Like, you want to lay down the gauntlet, let everybody know who the boss is. And Meepo sure did that today. He had it under control for most of it. Equals obviously giving them a run for his money, but it wasn't enough. Meepo able to play it perfectly, especially at the end there, where we're kind of thinking, oh dear, maybe Equals might be able to just hang on here. But nope, Meepo did it all correct, and I'm hoping that we can get a wee interview with him today and just kind of ask where this new Meepo has come from, this rejuvenated Meepo. Oh dear. Let's bring him in. He's right there. So yes, Meepo, welcome to the interview booth. Congratulations, the triple today, the pole, the race win, and the fastest lap. What have you had for breakfast this morning, my son?
Nothing.
Okay.
That's why I see he was really light then. You see, less downforce.
He was fasting. Get it? Fast.
Oh, he was fasting.
Humor.
Yeah, so I guess we should ask you a question. So how was that for you, Mipu?
Really sweaty, and I really hate the fact that equals was like in my DRS the whole race. Didn't try to overtake me at any point, and I knew it's hard to like create a gap, like to break the DRS. I knew that was hard, so I was like, Jesus, this is gonna be a hard, tough race. So I kind of forced myself into an error, so equals goes past me, so I can like save some ERS and tires and fuel. That was, yeah, not fun.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I'm just reading chat here on the Discord, and I seen Dan asked you a question. And I seen your response about proving a point. Is that true? Did you actually have that on?
Yes, I did.
Well, I think you proved your point, and I'm glad you proved that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole reason why I came back. Even I wanted to see if I can be faster, or like if I can compete for race wins with a line or without line. Well, looks like I did that. It's outrageous how like one simple thing does, especially for me. How I went from spinning to winning all of a sudden. It's rough.
Yeah, so like explain that to me. So are you saying you did use line for this race?
Absolutely, I did use it. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Well, it's allowed, so is that something you're going to continue to do, or are you going to
I mean, if I'm fighting for wins, sure, why not? But like, I feel like inside of me, I know like it doesn't like feel as good as if I would have no assist. I just know. But like, it's addicting, as one would say.
Yeah, well, he did prove a point today, and yeah, I mean, I was saying in the race, like you obviously have raced in Tier 2 against the likes of Equals and like Luke and stuff. So, did you have that in your mind whenever you're racing today? The fact that you can beat these guys, you beat them before, or were you just freaking out the whole time?
Well, I had that month break, but like I was like, well, if I beat Equals once, or I don't know how many times, if I ever, but I feel like maybe I can beat him today. And well, I did. It took some strategic thinking during the race, but like otherwise, yeah, well, I mean, I clearly had the more race pace than him. I saw him struggle quite a lot when he was leading, and when I like dropped him out of DRS almost like 4 times. I tried, but I really didn't like drop him out of DRS. But I knew I was faster than him. So yeah.
Nice, man. And how are you feeling about the rest of the season? I know a lot of drivers liked the calendar this season. Are you one of those guys that are looking forward to some of these upcoming tracks? And how do you think, how are you thinking about it in terms of the title? Do you think it's attainable this season, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I like more than half of this track, so sure, why not like go for the title, I guess. But I mean, it feels wrong to win at Tier 1 days with a line. It just feels wrong.
But I would like to comment on that. I think it feels wrong. The fact that I believe effectively the front row were the first podium were, if I'm right, all using assists.
Yeah.
It's hard to say anything about people losing their minds, but it should not be that way. We know why it is, right? We know, but it's not the right way to do it. It's the people that go out there and do it themselves with no help whatsoever. That's what we want to see. Then you can judge people on their pace. You see, Mac and Dan, as we know, and Justin and Tunaman, no assists at all. So what they achieved is more significant, if I can say, than what the podium did because they did it themselves, and that
Yeah.
ultimately is what we all say. It's not shitting on people that use them. I know that they think that use what you want, but when it comes to tier 1, they shouldn't be on it. That's all I'll say. I know that there are people that are not racing because of it. That's it.
I mean, I agree with you.
In saying that, though, I actually really enjoyed the race. I think that was a really great race. Everyone raced really, really well. It was a lot of smart driving today. Across the grid, everyone was using their brains. Good strategies, good racecraft, and overall, I thought it was a very, very good race. So I congratulate everyone for their performance today. It's a bit of a shame we didn't get Luke. I like to see Luke on track. The guy is phenomenally fast, and he definitely would have been up there with you guys as well. So maybe next week, Meepo will get Luke to join the party.
Well, yes, I agree. Yeah.
Well, with that, we will conclude the interview with yourself, Meepo. Congrats again on the triple. That was a pretty impressive debut for season 14. Long may it continue. But thanks for joining us for the interview, and we'll speak to you soon, I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah. Next week I'll win. Maybe no. That's no. Yeah. Let's see.
We'll see. Right. So we've got one more interviewee. Sorry. We've got equals. So a lot of you today, of course, you're at the very front of the grid for most of that race. How was it for you? We just spoke to Meepo there, so it got quite sweaty at times. But he felt that he did have the measure of you overall. I mean, what was your thoughts throughout that race?
First of all, hello guys.
Hello.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. So I never raced these guys before. Mepo seems to be quite fast. I didn't know their pace. I had a good pace. I tried to stay on DRS, which I did, and I saw that we were making some gap on the guys behind. So it was mostly between us, me and Mepo. And well, I shouldn't pass him, but I knew he was going very slow to let me pass to recruit his DR. I don't know what to say. What's the word?
Recharge.
But, recharge his battery. But uh, I stayed in front. I knew he's gonna attack on the last in the last lap. In the end, he wins. Congrats to him. And that's it pretty much. I enjoyed the race. It was very fun for me. And we move into the next one.
Interesting, yeah, because we saw you go for the lead then, so you felt like it was kind of engineered by Meepo for you to go for the lead at that point in the race, and then, yeah, like you're saying, just he went into recharge mode. But I saw that you kind of, picked up on that in the race. I could see you charging as well, so you're obviously thinking, right, I'm ahead now. If I can charge up and maybe defend his later charge, but yeah, it just wasn't to be. That DRS on the start finish rate was just a bit too strong, and I mean, if that race was to play out again as it did, like what would you have done differently?
Not much, not much. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't pass him that easily,
Yeah.
I would just let him go in front. I don't know what else could I do differently, but that's the clear one thing. And also, I knew that he didn't have much of a battery at some point because when we left the pits, we both had we were pushing, and I saw him flashing. So I knew he was pushing hard to make a gap, move me out of the DRS, but I managed to stay, and we both were on recharge modes at this point of the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, well, great race overall, and definitely a good sign for things to come from yourself. I mean, obviously you contended for the win today, could have easily won that one. How are you thinking about the rest of the season? We've got 13 more tracks to do. We're early days this season. Are you thinking is there a chance you could take a Tier 1 title this season, or is that far from your mind right now?
Well, honestly, I'm a tier 2 driver, and I joined as reserve, but I'm I have a tough schedule,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'm able to race every Friday. So when I am available, of sure I will join. But mainly I can race for tier 2. That's why we joined with my friend Robostrat. And I don't know if you watched the yesterday's stream.
Yeah.
I had the very unlucky moment where my power of the area went off.
Oh
Uh,
yes,
I,
yes, you
I
were.
had
Yeah.
I was comfortably in front.
Yeah.
Our gamer had 5 second penalty, and anyway, that's in the past. We move into the next one.
Yeah.
So I wanted to race again today since I was available, and I had a wonderful race.
Yeah, you sure did, man, and it was enjoyable to watch. You definitely kept Meepo on his toes today, so we definitely are looking forward to you back in Tier 1 at some point in the future. So, yeah, congrats on P2 today, and you definitely put to bed those memories of yesterday of that disconnect. That was rather unfortunate timing, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for joining us in the commentators booth, man. I appreciate it, and we will speak to you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers, bro. Bob, that's it for us. We got through it ourselves, not too badly. I think you carried us for most of it, which I much appreciate. And any final thoughts before we end the stream?
No, I mean, as I said, I enjoyed the race overall. Even though I have my own other issues, but I did enjoy it. Let's say, disappointed that. Well, no, I'll not say nothing. I'll just continue on. Overall, yes, I did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to the coming races. I think next week is Spain. I used to think that people really enjoyed Spain. I actually liked Spain in the early games, but I think it's not really a fan favorite at all. But we just have to, excuse me, we just have to get rid of these. For me personally, we need to get rid of these two tracks, or I say get rid of them. We need to, go erase them, and then it starts getting really juicy. We're getting into Baku, we're getting into Spa, Silverstone, Qatar. I love Qatar. I never even knew it existed until last season. 5 laps later, I love it. I can't wait. And I think the fact that, Dan and Justin and Mac, the main guys that we're looking at here, let's face it, even though they didn't get the result that we probably expected, they still did really, really well to get, the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think they got. So I think that's where they finished. So I don't think they'll be too down about that. That's good points for them. They know what they can do. There are some really, really quick tracks coming up. Monaco's also on the grid, and we know a lot of people don't turn up for that. So again, another opportunity for that. So yeah, not really. That's it. I did enjoy the track, or did enjoy the race. A lot of good racing, and hopefully, we didn't sound too rough. I will say honestly, not even lying. I find it quite difficult because it's really tickling my throat, but. I know we're both kind of feeling really shit at the moment. So, but yeah, I'm just talking rubbish here, Chief. I just tell me to shut up.
No,
I'll be here next week.
I'm just glad there's a mute button on my mic, because the amount of times I've had to mute while I coughed up a lung was quite scary. But there's one last point of order, and it's driver of the day. I'll go first and say I'll nominate. Obviously, Meebo was the standout driver today, but he did the triple. He got all the accolades. He's got the race win. I'm thinking P3. That battle for P3 was pretty stellar as well. He got Rumpo Strat, takes it on the line with Tenari just right behind him. I would say shout out to Justin for that P5, given that he was on a compromised strategy, and he was saying it wasn't a great track for him, so P5 was great. But Rumpo Strat for me, I think P3. yeah, it was quite a battle, and he definitely earned that P3 spot. And I would go for a driver of the day for him, unless you've any other opinions on it.
Who did you say? He's Justin?
Rombo Strat for P3. Justin as well was P5. I mean, I could go with Justin, but what do you reckon?
Uh, well, like, I mean, I'm happy to concede whatever you think. I think Mac and Dan did quite a significant job there today to go from basically last to get up at the really good points positions. We knew they could do it. So they're definitely worth talking about. I think, me personally, not to take anything away from Strat, I think Justin did a really good job today because he already admitted he doesn't like this track. It's actually his worst track, his weakest track. He was running on really old tires near the end, and he still held on for what, P5, I think. So
Yeah, P5. Yeah.
I would be more leaning towards him. Plus, he's no assists. But I'm willing to go. I'm really starting the pot. I'm telling you.
It's
I'm gonna
begun.
go.
It's begun.
It's begun. The beef is started. Starting the pot. Anyway, I'm ready to go with whatever you want to say, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
we'll
wrong.
go with Justin then. P5, he held on there quite nicely, and yeah, a tough race for him, but he always just ends up in the mix anyway, doesn't he? Even if it isn't a great track, or even if he does get
Yeah.
compromised or have some issues during the race, he always is in the mix. So those points may play a big part in the title charge. As I know he is definitely after that title, he's missed out so many times. So could this be the one? We will find out. But yeah, that's it for us for now. We're going to end the stream, and we will be back next week at Spain. And we look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for everybody for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done already. And we'll of course be back soon again. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Good night.
Maybe.